Zombies just have a standard of beauty that's different than your own. That's it.
Know.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Heroes Peak podcast. I am your host, Chris, and we are here to talk about entertainment, culture, and whatever the hell we feel like today. And today, with my wonderful co-hosts, we'll be talking about The Nevers, we'll be talking about M.O.D.O.K, and, of course, the Zack Snyder recently released Army of the Dead. And with me today to talk about these topics for varying degrees of hate and love, it's my co-host, James. How you doing, James?
It's been a long time, man. I miss you guys. It's like
A whole week.
Guys.
It's not like we didn't talk every day.
That week feels like 2 months for me, man. But I'm glad to see you guys.
Did you fall apart while you were? I heard you were eating like carbs and stuff or something.
Yeah, fell apart. I mean,
Carbs,
I had a sick kid.
Oh, that's not good. A son kid.
But glad to be back.
Also with us today is Brooksy. How you doing, Brooksy?
Great. I also missed you guys. Glad to be back.
Well, we're glad to be back. Did
We
you
never
mix
damned.
that? How are you doing? Wow. Sorry.
How
Mike.
you doing?
Edit.
Mike, how are you doing?
How you doing?
How was your week?
Not so great. I am happy, though, that we have free healthcare up here for the Toronto Maple Leafs. It took quite a beating over the last week, so they can get the recovery they need.
They blew a 3-1 lead, man.
Yeah, don't get me started. Disgraceful.
And last but definitely not least, it's Keith. How are you doing, Keith? How are your Knicks doing?
Knicks in 7.
Okay, keep those hopes up, right?
I'm with you, Keith.
Let's go, Knicks.
See, the Hawks could do what Toronto did.
Oh.
Throw a 3-1 lead.
Hey, hush your mouth.
All right. And I'm doing okay. I got my first shot today.
Oh,
I am
nice.
now halfway to becoming a zombie or a superhero. We will see. What
No wonder I see that you got that gray streak in your hair now.
That's right. I had Magneto standing over me, sapping my power. All right. So today we are going to talk about the Nevers. We're going to talk about M.O.D.O.K and Army of the Dead. So first we're going to start with the Nevers, which is we had a small discussion about this after the first episode or two. This is the television series on HBO Max. It's the action drama fantasy series created by Joss Whedon, where we're following a group of Victorian people, some mostly women, but some men who receive superpowers following a weird event that nobody but a crazy woman can remember. So who finished the series?
I did, yeah.
You did.
I didn't finish.
Okay, so after you watch the first 2 episodes, I felt like, oh my God, I have to finish this. Like, I was really into the story. So what about you guys? Did you get really into it right away and finish it, or did you kind of drag it along and kind of force yourself to finish it?
Let me counter that real quick, Chris, because I did not like, and I think when we first spoke about this on the pod, I was the only one. I was like, this is really kind of meh, because I only seen like the first episode going to the second.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys were on me. You guys were like, gotta watch episode 3, episode 4, which I did obviously, and I pivoted. I went from like, this is kind of meh, to like, wow, this is a pretty good show, great concept. Mm-hmm. And then obviously the last 2 episodes, the home run for me on making the show a pretty good show.
All right, before we go into spoilers, we'll let everybody kind of give me your overall take on the show as a whole, since we did finish, or mostly finish the whole season. What did you think?
We should also let people know that this isn't the complete season 1, right?
Oh, it's not. True. Why don't you tell us? What is it?
They had to split it. During because of the production.
Pandemic.
Yeah, because of COVID. So we'll be seeing the rest of the season in 2022.
Yeah. So there's 6 episodes completed that would form the basis of, one half of the season 1.
Right.
See, that's
And they're
kind of weird
filming.
because in this day and age, like 6 to 8 episodes feels like a fine season. Like you could have just called it season 1 and it ended on a fine cliffhanger, like big information dump. And you could have just said, season 2 coming next year, and not really this whole split season thing. It doesn't really matter. I think it ended it in such a way that you could just call this season 1, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
could.
it did end on a cliffhanger, but you felt like you were in a place from normal television that it would be the end of a season.
I mean, if we go, most UK shows only do about 6 episodes for a season, right? So
Yeah, and they're all like an hour.
I mean, my only exception to that is there's way too many plot that wasn't kind of tied up in a bow to call it a season 1 ender. There's a lot of that stuff.
I think the big twist that you get to at the last 2 episodes feels like they're introducing you to something new and saying this is what you're going to get more of come next season.
I got you. I mean, just to be a little bit specific, a lot of characters had some open-ended plots that were left that weren't even addressed in the final episode. They were really in the penultimate episode.
Right, yeah.
So. Yeah, that's the thing. It's kind of a big cast in this show, right? A lot of secondary characters and whatever. So.
Yeah. But to me, this show ramped up as I kept watching each episode. To answer your original question, Chris, I know we digressed, but I did not like the first episode. The second episode, let me give this
that
shot.
whole episode 6, like I turned that on, and I was like, wait a minute, did I turn on the wrong show?
Same thing. Same thing.
It's like, whoa, what's going on here? Yeah.
That's exactly how I felt. I was super confused watching episode 6. Like, I think I had to stop it and make sure I was watching the Never still. Because I was like, it is so different than the previous 5 episodes.
But do you feel like, without saying what that twist was before we go into spoilers, did you feel like after you got through those 2 episodes, did it feel like a good cohesive story that with a big weird thing that happened, or did it feel like these are 2 different things that got mushed together?
The latter for me. Sorry, go ahead.
When you say the episodes, you mean like episode 1 to episode 6?
Yes. Do you feel like it felt like there were 2 things, they mushed them together to make one show, or do you feel like, oh, okay, so this kind of explains this stuff in an interesting way? Like, how did you feel about the way that story just kind of really took a left turn on you?
Yeah, I agree with Mike. It felt like 2 totally different things. Like, it didn't feel like it, to James's point, put a bow on anything. I was just like, it made it more confusing for me because I was super into it before episode 6. And on episode 6, I didn't like I'm going to still watch the rest of it. But if it had started on episode 6 or it had started in that manner, the way, how it starts, I probably wouldn't have watched it and been into it.
Yeah.
So
sorry.
Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say, like, this is a Joss Whedon creation. We've already said we don't like Joss Whedon, whatever. Have you guys seen Dollhouse?
Yeah, I love Dollhouse. That was a good show.
Okay, so
canceled too soon.
Dollhouse is another show where you think you're kind of following the story along as it's given to you, and it's women with basically superpowers in one way or another, and then there's a twist as to how and why they got them, right? So it's basically his MO at this point is this: what if I gave a woman superpowers, but she got there in this really weird method?
Yeah.
So it's definitely a Joss Whedon joint. Like, it's just written all over it.
It's his own trope. I see it.
Yeah.
Got it.
I think Dollhouse is on Hulu for you guys if you want to check it out. I really like season 1 of Dollhouse was great, and then
that's a show that I think was better at the beginning, and then it went downhill. It's weird. Like, Serenity is still like one of his more famous properties that everybody wanted something, but it ended after 1 season. So it's like he never got to get to the point where he ruined it.
Well, they made the Firefly movie, so.
Oh, the movie was fine. I liked the movie. So, Keith, what did you think? How far did you get?
Maybe about like the 5th, 6th episode.
All right. So if we go into spoilers, will we ruin this for you?
No.
Okay. We're gonna tell everybody we're going into a full spoiler on the big twist of the Nevers.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
You've heard of this. You've seen this, right? You know what that is.
It is unavoidable. It is your destiny.
Is this not why you are here?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Knock that shit off.
And that is that these Victorian women were given powers by a future alien race who actually sent the main character's spirit back in time to take over the body of a dead woman.
Who was our main protagonist?
Yes.
In the beginning of the show.
And that's Laura Donnelly playing Amelia True.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of her? What did you think of the twist? Like this whole weird. I was like, wait a minute. I was expecting kind of an alien thing, but the whole time travel thing seemed really an unnecessary.
Yeah, I'm with
development
you.
Yeah.
Of like weirdness. Like I was expecting, okay, a crashing alien ship or an experimental alien ship or whatever. Yeah, we got that from the beginning. But the whole future war time travel thing just was like this layer of complexity unnecessary to a fun, otherwise really fun and exciting show.
Yeah, I agree. Because you could have just kind of had the alien part without the rest of it. I don't know.
Yeah, if she was like an alien on the ship and her consciousness got switched or something like that, that's fine enough. I just
I don't think we even needed that. I think the character was fine the way it is without being from another time, another dimension, whatever.
Well, she has.
Well, here's one thing I have to
go ahead.
And I by the way, I agree with you guys on this, but to me, it makes sense. The reason they did it because the character True, you could tell from the beginning she did not fit the stereotypes of the traditional Victorian woman. She was hand-to-hand combat savvy.
Yeah.
She was cussing. She didn't fit that mold. And without a real reason of why was she so different, it wouldn't have made sense until, the twist where you realize, okay, she's not from this particular Earth time period. She's from a future where women are more, self-empowered. They can fight with the men and, so that to me it was like, all right, so this is why she's been so different because she's from a different timeline. It doesn't coincide with the current timeline because no woman there acts the way that she acts. And I'm not trying to say that was the best way of doing it, but I get it. That's the reason why they did that. Other than maybe the second half of this season is going to show us more about her knowledge of the future events and how it's going to help stop from, whatever event's going to happen in the current time. That's my only other defense for that.
Yeah, there was some hints early on that she wasn't who her body was because some of the things she said about not being her face,
her boobs.
Yeah, the way she acted, she was definitely out of place. And I get it works. Like the explanation is they played the character accurate to what we found out. It's just whether we enjoyed the story twist or not, I think is really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we could have just had them like this alien spaceship come over, sprinkle some superhero powers
Fairy
on
dust.
people. Yeah. And that kind of explains why she has these like superhuman fighting abilities. And like, I would have really been good with that, to be honest.
I feel like that was already done.
Yeah,
wasn't there already like a current show with a sprinkling and like some people got powers who got like sprinkled upon?
Wasn't that movie we just watched, Thunder Force?
No, Thunder Force, they made that in the line. Oh wait, the bad guys were sprinkled on.
Yeah. That was Thunder. You're right, Thunder Force, but it only worked on sociopaths.
Remember?
Yes.
What way to find out you don't really care about your significant other doesn't care about you. You're like, oh shit, you got superpowers? You are an asshole.
It's not me.
It's not me. I feel better about myself now. Thank you. So I mean, I think as the show, it's in an interesting time period. Victorian England is out of place from what we normally see for anything but dramas. So having a kind of a fun action set piece kind of show, I thought it overall worked well, and I think my favorite is what's her name? The
engineer.
No. I think
That's
Madeline.
James's favorite.
Yeah, she's my favorite too.
No, the crazy girl.
Malady.
Malady. Yeah.
Melody.
Amy Manson.
Mhm.
Her last
Yeah.
name's Manson, by the way. So yeah. That
Yeah.
works.
Not a coincidence.
But
I like the twist they did with her too.
yeah, that was another fun thing. We won't tell that. We'll let
You're keep on.
Keith figure that one out. But I think overall, the show has interesting set pieces, interesting explanations outside of the whole future thing, which is fine, and it keeps on track. It doesn't seem to be wandering in multiple directions. It keeps the characters interesting, and it kind of it tries to show off like people treating them different, and the patriarchy at play versus the racism.
Yes.
It doesn't weigh on those heavy, but they do sprinkle those in to make sure that they're those things are still there.
Yep. And the acting also. The guy who plays the main patriarch political guy.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of reminds me of the Charles Dance from Game of Thrones, who's the Lannister father. Like I'm not saying he was as good in that show, but he has shades of that actor because he's like threatening, powerful, and he's very deliberate in what he says in his conversations about the entire system and how these women can't be allowed to exist because that goes against our own machinations. There's a lot of good script writing with just his character alone that reminded me of Mr. Lannister.
Yeah, and I believe Whedon is off of the show now. He kind of went hands off and stepped back away from it. So even though he's the creator, the next season and even this season, the head writer, I think is someone. He's not named as the head writer on the show. So
interesting.
So we'll see. I will continue to watch it. I think it was an interesting series. Do you want to give it a grade for season 1?
Yeah, can we do grades and your favorite character since you kind of brought that up?
Yeah, all right. Go ahead, Brooksy. What's your grade and your favorite character?
Okay, I'm gonna give it an A-. I was super into it. The last episode, not as much, but I feel like based on the strength of the first 5, I was very into it. So A-. And then I think I'm gonna be pretty obvious, and Amalia True is my favorite character.
She's solid.
Yeah, she's definitely solid. Super interesting, very dynamic. I love that she can just beat people up, men, women, big monsters that can walk on water. Doesn't matter. She can kick their ass.
That was a
dope fight scene. Yes,
that was a
really
dope
interesting.
Fight scene.
Yeah. And the other thing that I really like about this show is at the end of each episode, they do these interviews with some of the cast members, and you kind of like dive deep into how they filmed the scene, like they showed how they filmed the scene between Amalia and whatever the giant's name is.
I missed it. I missed that. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that.
Go back and watch
it's really interesting. They like kind of show how they film it, and so that part is like really interesting because they use like a lot of tricks, but also she was in the water. Like it wasn't just a green screen behind. I mean, there was a green screen, but she was in the water, and they had to like capture all these angles, and it was really interesting. So I really like that part of it as well, because it's just so interesting to see how they like the behind the scenes and what it takes to actually make an episode, and like all the tricks they use and all of that stuff. It's a lot of fun. So highly recommend that part of it.
All right. Very cool. All right. James, why don't you give us a grade? And we already heard your favorite character, right?
Yeah, I agree with Brooks. I think an A-. The show definitely picked up from the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, the first episode, I had to watch it twice before it really kind of clicked in.
Yep. I was not hooked. My favorite character, I want to say my heart will go with Pennis because I like her unique quirk, for lack of a better term. Also, the actress playing her plays her really well. But in my mind, after the last two episodes, I kind of have to say it's Malady. Like I like
Oh yeah.
her character's introduction in the beginning of this season and where we landed with her at the end of the season. I thought that was well written, well acted. So my mind is gonna say Malady. My heart will say Penance.
All right, thanks. All right, Keith. So
Mm.
far, what is your favorite character and what's your grade?
My grade is in process so far, but I think like I feel like I'm safe enough in the A minus category to go ahead and say, well, that's where I am in process. My favorite character, Amala, or whatever.
Amalia, I think it is. Yeah.
Amalia, like I really dig her as a badass, and I think that she acts well, even though like you look at some of the things and like wow, that just made no sense that you just kicked it. But she'll take a beating as well. Like I definitely I dig her. But what I'm feeling though is that it will definitely turn into Malady by the end of the season from all accounts of what I'm hearing.
Yeah, Malady's more than meets the eye, if I were to say.
Yeah.
Really nice.
I dig her acting.
Mm-hmm.
And she's very intense. And I like that.
And I like when the two clash, the intensity of the one versus the steady hand of the other. It makes a real interesting scene. I love those scenes. All right, and last but not least, Mike.
So for me, B plus for this season.
Mm-hmm.
Started strong, ended pretty strong. So I'm with Brooksy there, where I think the time travel stuff is kind of unnecessary, but we'll see where it goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my favorite character is probably still Penance, the tech. So
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on a B plus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give it. I think it was consistent, even when it switched settings. The writing was consistent, the acting was consistent, everything was very solid. And I think that water fight, man, that was probably one of the most interesting things I've seen in as a fight in a superhero or magical realm or something. One of the more interesting things I've seen in a long time. It's a great setup, great design. All right, so we gave that all. Next thing we know, we're going to talk about M.O.D.O.K, the animated series starring Patton Oswalt, of all things. And I think we're going to take a 30-second break and come back.
Sounds good.
Stick with us. All right, everybody, we are back and we're here to talk about M.O.D.O.K on Hulu, which is the animated Disney series based on the Marvel villain M.O.D.O.K, but this is a comedy claymation or stop motion, I should say, stop motion series.
The Robot Chicken style.
Yeah, based on villain M.O.D.O.K. So it centers around an egomaniacal supervillain with a really big head and a really little body. He struggles to maintain control of his evil organization and his demanding family. So
just a couple notes before you start. So in around the world, outside the US, it's on Disney Plus.
Oh, really?
On the Star, whatever, the Hulu International, whatever equivalent on Disney Plus. And they only release one episode per week.
Oh, wow. So,
come on, Hulu, get it together outside of the country.
So the US got the whole season, and a lot of people are behind on us. So the stars Patton Oswalt as M.O.D.O.K, Amy Garcia as Jody, Ben Schwartz as Lou, and John Daly as that's Super Adaptoid. He's not a big. Melissa Fumero. Melissa.
He's from
999.
Yeah.
All right. So honestly, I only got through about 3 episodes of this. They felt really long, and it's not to say there wasn't any fun fun or funny moments to it, but it just wasn't hitting me. So I'm going to let you guys control this discussion. Mike, you're the one who seems to have gotten the most out of this. So I'm going to hand this one over to you to lead.
Yeah, Mike.
Well, what can we say? It's a comedy. I would call this basically Marvel's equivalent of Harley Quinn.
A satirical comedy.
Right.
Series.
It's adult oriented, so it's not for kids, right? So a lot of language and a lot of violence and
graphic gore, sex.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so we have M.O.D.O.K, played by Patton Oswalt, who's bent on being the next, the ultimate supervillain, but he, tries. As he does, he's usually failing. Meanwhile, he's got his home life, his family with his wife, who is a YouTube blogger. What did she call it? What is it, like lifestyle
food cuisine and lifestyle, like organizational stuff?
Yeah, he's got his son who's a young teenager, and I don't know what to call him, but he's
just a preteen,
like he's very odd as well. And then
a little bit
quirky, yeah.
Right, and his daughter who
wants to be a magician. He wants to do magic. He always wants to do magic at his bar mitzvah.
Right. And then the daughter who is the same body shape as him, so she's got her own suit as well.
She's also like the typical teenage 15, 16-year-old who's like all about fashion and herself.
Mm-hmm.
But she's got her father's evil streak.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. She's turning more into him as the season goes on. So I don't know, what can I say? You definitely gotta get beyond 3 episodes to like there's a couple arcs in there that you'll really enjoy when it comes to M.O.D.O.K and the whole thing with AIM and the what's the company that bought them? Grumble.
Yeah.
So I don't think we should really give it away if you haven't seen it, but
no, give it away. Go right ahead.
Yeah. So it turns out Grumble is where were they? Aliens from another dimension or something, right?
Yeah, aliens that were corporates. I'm making up a word here. They're basically going around being the Amazon of the universe.
Right.
And Amazon don't sue us.
So they want to take over, by being the corporate overlords of the universe. So what else do we have? We had the arc with the family. So in the beginning they're getting divorced, but him and the wife trying to find ways to work it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he basically goes through a midlife crisis.
Not him and the wife. He's trying to find ways
to work it out.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
He's trying to connect with both he's going through a midlife crisis. He's his wife.
Like she seems pretty much done.
Yeah, because he's just plays the self-centered. He's almost like the classic early 2000s dad character in most sitcoms. Very self-centered, completely useless in most situations at home, and completely frazzled at work. Like it's like a 2000s sitcom with a guy in a floaty chair.
I don't know if you guys saw this this cartoon, but this show, but M.O.D.O.K reminds me of it a lot. But BoJack Horseman.
Yeah,
I've not seen it. No.
It like the whole self-deprecating and like it's almost looking like like the character is really taking. Like he's aware of what's going on as well. Like we're watching the character's therapy.
Right. He is evolving throughout the season.
Like he's aware of his failures.
Sometimes, like the first 3 episodes, he was not really aware. So like every time he made a decision, it was like I said, like a 90s sitcom dad. It was a selfish, self-centered, like, I've got Iron Man's boot, so I'm going to kick my wife out of bed so I can spend the night with Iron Man's boot. Like, that's his... I'm assuming that at some point, if he fixes his marriage, he comes around on that.
Well, you see it actually as it progresses, and like in him trying to win back his wife, and like it's just like they did a very good job of like you don't see it as claymation after a while or whatever it is. It's just like he comes up very human. Like
there's an arc that he has in the middle of the season with a group of other villains that are. By the way, this is M.O.D.O.K is a C-list villain in Marvel Comics.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So he surrounds himself with like even lesser villains, like D and below, which is hilarious. But through the interaction with those villains, to Keith's point, he becomes a little more realistic and more human in his failings and what he can't get done and why he needs other folks around him. Why he admits to himself, to one of his other former coworkers, how she's really the brains behind the original AIM. And that middle arc to me really hooked me in the show before we got to like the final 2 episodes. With him and Jess and those group of folks trying to.
I also like the younger him coming from the past, getting stuck in the timeline and trying to screw things up. So that was a good.
Yeah, and then the final 3 episodes.
Yeah, and so there's the relationship with his coworker who helped him found the company. Then the kids that starts to evolve, and then with the working things out with the wife. So yeah, he does realize. I agree with you there. He does realize he'll never be like a Thanos or anybody like that. So
now this is definitely a straight comedy series, right? It doesn't devolve into some kind of melodrama or anything like that.
No, I mean, just like if you want.
There's some heavy moments though. I think with his son and daughter, there's a couple heavy because I watched this with Eric. Serena watched by herself. There's some heavy moments about the familial connection he has as a dad with his kids. How he just can't see them, and they're trying to win his affection. There's some moments in there amongst the comedy, shenanigans where it's like, oh, this is a serious topic for at least a good 2 minutes or so. And particularly the finale. I think the finale, the way it ends, is very deep, married in a bunch of comedy, but it's still a very deep topic about what are you willing to sacrifice to get your goals, loved ones or not.
Yeah, and so like if you want to compare it to Harley Quinn, like Harley Quinn season 1, she had to come to the realization, about her relationship with Joker and stuff like that.
Perfect.
Right?
That's perfect.
So it's kind of on the same level there.
I felt that, I guess in the first 3 episodes, it felt like a little less storylined, where more, but from what you guys are saying, it really does actually progress.
Power through it, Chris.
I would definitely.
It takes a turn.
Yeah, especially
I would think that if you're up to episode 3, though, like you would have started to see it a little bit.
I mean, he's going back in time to try to save his marriage, and I see that there's a storyline there, but I mean, it just felt like setups for comedy bits as opposed to comedy coming out of the storylines.
I remember that part. Yeah, it's gonna get there. It's all gonna make sense near the end.
Yeah, especially the stuff with, oh my god, the turtle race guys had me.
Yes,
dying laughing.
The MTV party crew. Yeah, dude, the funniest part, without spoiling too much for Chris, was in the final episode when they're showing the multiple permutations of how he had failed, trying to take down the Avengers. He goes, even Hawkeye? I can imagine Keith somewhere was like cracking up.
Like, props to John Hamm, who played Tony Stark in this one too, by the way.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Yeah, there are a lot of good good actors doing voice work in this one. Produced by Seth Green from Robot Chicken. That's why
that makes sense. Yeah, that made a lot of sense.
So,
but yeah, it show gets better. It gets better.
What else can we say? I mean, I'm looking forward to season 2. I want to see what else they come up with. A lot of respect for Patton Oswalt. He's a funny guy. Hope we.
I know you didn't ask, but I'm giving this show an A- as well.
Wow, it's high grade.
High grade.
All right, what about you, Keith? What do you grade so far of M.O.D.O.K?
I mean, well, judging, I think I've actually watched it all, based on what they're saying, because I'm gonna go ahead and give it an A.
Ooh, high grade. Okay, Mike.
Yeah, A- for me. I don't know what else I can say. Obviously there could have been points that could have been better, but to me, I really enjoyed it.
I just hate laughter and fun. So I'm not going to grade this until
Jesus and puppies.
more.
Birds and Jesus.
Jesus
Well-
and puppies.
That's right. I scoff at sunshine.
I hate joy and merriment.
Guy pisses at rainbows.
That's right. I am covered in chains. What was his Scrooge's friend's name?
Ebenezer.
I've been-
No.
no,
His
he is
business
Ebenezer,
partner
too.
who got
Yeah.
Mortimer.
No.
I
think it is,
begins with
it
an
is
M.
Yeah, it does begin with an M.
Wow, this is exciting to watch. All right, everybody, we are going to get Brooksy back, and we are going
Bob
to
Cratchit.
Bob Cratchit.
Cratchit. We way off.
Wow, that's like an
I think
M.
it started with an M.
So everything but an M in his name.
That's
Bob
right. I
Cratchit.
don't think there's a single M.
Bob Cratchit.
All right, we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. Dun. Speaking of fun and merriment,
Prepare for a bunch of slow-mos and fires and explosions in my edit.
In weird camera shot.
oh, I'm gonna go back to being out of focus for that.
Yeah, makes sense. All right. See you
All right, we'll be back
on
in
the
a
other
second.
side of the break, folks.
Greetings, everybody. We're back, and we are going to be talking about Army of the Dead, the Zack Snyder 2021 Netflix-funded release. Yes, that's important because Zack Snyder had full reign, full control over this movie. This is a 2-hour and 20-minute movie about following a zombie outbreak in Las Vegas. A group of mercenaries take the ultimate gamble, venturing into the quarantine zone to pull off a heist and not die. All right, so this stars Dave Bautista and Ella Purnell, and actually quite a large cast here.
Yeah, huge.
So we're going to go right into the story. We're going to go right into the Zack Snydering of this. We're going to blur all our faces out and then slowly zoom in.
Slow-mo me, Mike.
All right, so anyway. So let's start with the premise of this and the trailer we saw a couple months back. I was actually rather interested in this by the straight premise, by the trailer. I saw a cool, fun, poppy world in which Zack Snyder doesn't have to care about preset characters that people will yell at him for. What did you guys think? What were your expectations going into this movie? I'm going to start with Brooks. What was your expectations going into this movie?
So generally, I absolutely hate zombie movies. I feel like everybody knows this. I always say that. I'm not about that zombie life. Hate it. I like Walking Dead makes me want to like grab my eyeballs out. Like I never want to watch anything with zombies. However, since it was a Zack Snyder movie, I decided to give it a chance. And I will say I enjoyed it.
Dear Lord.
Was very pleasantly surprised that I actually really liked the movie.
So you had a weird expectation where you hate zombies, but you like Zack Snyder. And so
yes.
Going into this, would you say you just had a very neutral like take on what you thought you...
Going into it, I honestly thought I was going to probably turn it off within the first like 5 to 10 minutes. But I wanted to give it a try, like I said, because it was Zack Snyder, but also because it was our homework and I don't want Mike to yell at me.
Teacher Mike.
But yeah, like I was really intrigued by it. So yeah, I was into it. I really enjoyed it.
All right, for the opposite end of the spectrum, we're going to go to James, who's already shaking his head.
Well,
what
let me ask Brooks
what were
a
your
question.
Expectations?
Yeah, before we get to that real quick, Brooks, have you ever seen Dawn of the Dead or 28 Days Later? You've seen those movies. So you've seen Dawn of the Dead.
I think so, but I
It's
didn't like
another movie with a ensemble cast and zombies that are steroided out.
Yeah.
Did you like that movie? Because you said you hate zombie movies. You
Hated
did
it.
like that movie, but you like this version.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Chris, to answer your question, Zack Snyder does something. I know we talked offline about Zack Snyder stuff.
All the time.
What he does really well, though, is his trailers. I don't know if he's cutting it himself or he's in a sitting room or someone else, but the trailer, like all of his movies, always like the best things in a movie. I'm watching the trailer a couple months ago, and I'm like, wow, these zombies are like martial arts capoeira around Dave Bautista. This is gonna be some interesting, zombie type movie. You got a great cast. And again, it's like kicking me in nuts all over again. Like I know what this dude's gonna deliver despite his trailers, and I got sucked in. And I watched the movie, and I'm sitting there like, this movie is just hot garbage in the sun. Like,
but wait till it rains.
Everyone had a terrible role. Everyone, and I know there's some behind the scenes with what's his name, Chris D, whatever his name is, the
Chris D'Elia,
the molester. He got kicked off, and then they brought in the other woman, who was also terrible. I mean, I'm sorry, she probably had to film everything in green screen after the movie's already cut.
All right, you're not doing a whole review here. I was asking.
And we have a penalty flag thrown at the 30-yard line.
You're set up.
I got you. So the trailer didn't. So when I saw the trailer to when I saw the movie, was like, nah, man, you freaking duke me again, you damn Zack Snyder. Why am I?
He's definitely a great visual artist in that way. Like he can pick some great setup design shots, and I think that's what gets you in the trailer. Okay, Keith.
The problem is he wrote, directed, and did the cinematography, the camera work on this movie.
Did he cut the trailer too? He cut the trailer.
I have no idea, but he basically did the top 3, things for this film.
So this says IMDb says story by Zack Snyder, screenplay by, and it's got Shay Hatton and Jody Harold. So he was definitely in the chair with those.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this whole thing is him top to bottom. Keith, what was your expectations going in here?
It's a heist movie with zombies.
Which sounds cool.
What would anyone?
I was going to say the same.
Expectations be like? I mean, to me, like it was pretty much like the same thing I thought of, like what's that vampire movie, Quentin Tarantino?
Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah.
It to me it was like in that vein
with less bare feet.
Like, okay, cool. Like I know vampires. Like,
right, yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you just changed the scenery as to, like, I know zombies. Oh, cool. Now we're gonna get a zombie movie that's a heist movie. Cool. I didn't have very high hopes for it at all. But I'll say it was entertaining. I didn't hate it. I did not like it. It was all right. Like, but it wasn't gonna. It's not gonna win an Oscar or anything like that. Like, it's definitely. But it's a good cheesy movie for what it's worth. But like, I wasn't too mad at it, except for like some of the ridiculousness with the zombies and like.
Yeah, we're gonna get into those details as we move into. I just want to get a base feel for everybody about where
I felt
they
it was
set up.
entertaining.
All right, Mike.
Enough, but it was still.
Yeah, I'm pretty much with Keith on it. Like, I'm not a huge zombie movie guy anyway. Like, it's all the same. Like, it's been overdone for me. And but I was like, oh, a heist movie with zombies, okay. But then the whole story is like so convoluted, and like the plot didn't really fly with me because a lot of stuff.
Guys are dancing around this stuff.
Like a lot of the stuff is like, go rob the casino and bring me this cash. Like, why, dude? You're already a billionaire. Like, why?
Yeah.
Let it go.
All right, guys. You're all wandering away from my questions.
It's just part of
really far.
I'm just making a point about like some of the things just didn't make any sense. So, but
my expectation, I asked this because my expectations for a Zack Snyder thing are on the floor. You guys, I've said this before, like, I don't think very much. I think he does great visuals. The trailer did, like James said, I thought the trailer was really solid. It looked bright, poppy, which I don't expect out of him after 300, after Watchmen, after Justice League, after just let them roll off your tongue. Like, they're all have a thing. So I was like, oh, is he giving you something different? So my expectations were really low. And I think that's why coming into this and watching it, I felt like because my expectations were so low, it felt a lot better watching it. Like, I was like, oh, okay, I'm into this enough. I get this. I'm having a good time overall, and I think that's why I wanted to ask that. I just felt my low expectations helped me have a better time with it. All right, so now we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes in it. We're gonna go.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
You've heard of this. You've seen this, right? You know what that is.
It is unavoidable. It is your destiny.
Is this not why you are here?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Knock that shit off.
Let's start with the story overall, because this is really the crazy stuff. And my theory of Zack Snyder, I'm not sure which one is correct. So tell me if you guys think, is he a guy that just so wants a movie universe that he's willing to just throw everything to the wind to get it? Or is he a guy who just can't, is he like a story hoarder? Like, he can't throw stuff in the trash. So the base story is, yes, we have a group of people who were hired by a casino magnate to go steal hundreds of $1 million out of his casino that's blocked by zombies. But in reality, it's a side quest to steal some zombie blood or something
and create more spin-offs
and get something for the US government. Those are kind of basically fine.
Which he could have just said, go steal this zombie head from me and I'll give you $200 million.
Right. So as we see, like, the complexity is a kind of unnecessary, but you use that to kind of set up some more fun and interesting. But do you think the story lent itself to being fun and interesting, or do you think there were so many little things that were out of whack that you lost track?
Chris, I think you're giving this guy too much credit about the story, because you did a very good point. Is he creating these little things here by accident just to make the story a little more developed, or is he setting up spin-offs and sequels and prequels?
Is it the JJ mystery box problem?
Yes. That's exactly what I think this movie was. That's why the story was so freaking thin, because he's just creating so much stuff and hoping that, the movie is exciting enough for you to just forget about this and watch it when the prequels come in to give you more information about the robot zombies or the blue-eyed zombies and whatnot. So you can't really talk about the story.
He lost me at pregnant zombie. Sorry.
Yeah, you like.
I was like, what the?
And I know what you're trying to do, Chris.
That's why I was like, okay, I got to draw the line.
the best part of the story in this movie was the opening, to show you how they got to the point where the zombies were created, right up until they set up the blockade. That entire part of the movie it gave you background, it introduced you to the main characters, and it was entertaining.
And someone used to saw on zombies.
Yeah, which you're waiting to see in the rest of the movie you never saw again. But that 10 minutes or so to me was like, all right, he's world building, introducing you to characters, he's telling you the synopsis of his world that we're in the zombies. Perfect. Now take me on after that in the story, and he never did that for me.
All right, Brooksy, I'm gonna give you the speaker here. You tell us, like, what was in the story that did you were like, was it just visuals and it was fun to watch, or were you interested in some parts of it? Were you able to follow it through? Tell us what you thought of that.
I mean, like I said, I don't really have high expectations or hopes of zombie movies. I generally think they're all horrible.
No, go for it.
But
she don't like how they portray zombies.
That's funny. that like kind of would be something that I would have about zombie movies though. So
I
it
like how
actually
they're
is
portrayed.
kind of
Like how
funny.
zombies are portrayed in zombie movies. It's very
I know.
cliche and it's a lot of stereotypes.
Mhm.
Yeah, when I was getting my COVID shot today, I was like, I wish I had some zombie makeup with me right now.
Jesus. A little dark.
So like after they give you like 5 minutes, they're like, sit there for 5 minutes to make sure everything's okay, and just be like, put some blood in, some
Like,
teeth.
zombies just have a standard of beauty that's different than your own. That's
I
it.
know.
Start shambling through the store.
Zombies are beautiful.
I mean,
Sorry,
I
go
definitely have
ahead,
some zombie
Trixie.
makeup if you need it.
Oh, you got all the makeup budget.
That's
right, I do. I have all the makeup. So I guess for the plot, like I don't have like these high expectations for a plot of a zombie movie. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like I was watching this plot being like, oh, this is horrible for a zombie movie. Like, it's a zombie movie. It's not going to be a great plot. You know what I mean? So I didn't have these like high expectations for a plot. I mean, it was, I don't know, it was kind of interesting to like assemble this cast, and like they're assembling the cast, and the very first thing I was like, everybody's going to die, hands down. There's no way anybody's living. For whatever reason, that's just what I thought. And then I don't know, it was interesting. Like it held my attention. It was kind of interesting. I do like that there was like a zombie kind of hierarchy, or there was like the queen zombie and the king zombie or whatever. That was kind of interesting to me. Then there was like the tiger zombie, I don't know. It was interesting. Like I was entertained by it. I wasn't like looking for some like deep plot or, something that was gonna like, I don't know, solve the world. It was like a zombie movie,
I wasn't looking for realism in a zombie.
No, but there was, going off what you say, there was a lot of potential. It's like if you talk about the hierarchy of the zombie like structure within the city, there was a lot of potential. But again, you lost me at pregnant zombies, you lost me at robot zombies. Like, come on, if you want to make it interesting, okay, you got some twists and turns with what's going on with the zombies, but like at some point it just got so ridiculous,
It wasn't even as ridiculous as the zombies. It's ridiculous with the human characters. The daughter, I could stand any scene with the daughter. She basically called all of them to die. You know that, right?
Yeah.
She was the reason why they all died.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
And then at the end, when they're getting on the helicopter and the one woman's like, just go. And so they go. Like, why couldn't you, help her kill whoever she was fighting and then get on the chopper and go?
There was a couple of times, as we get into details here, everybody, that there was a couple of times where someone was fighting by themselves, like 3 or 4 zombies, that people just stood there and stared.
Watched, yes.
At them. And they're like, there's nothing we can do with our guns.
The first one, when the one dude, the security guy for the company betrays the woman,
the Scorpion, yeah.
And then she comes out into the hallway, she's being chased by zombies. The rest of them are standing there like,
watching.
What's happening?
Yeah, the guy who perfectly headshots zombies one at a time just stood there and stared.
And then she couldn't even tell him the reason why she was caught up in that mess. The dude's a traitor. That guy, he set me up.
Right.
Like, tell him.
Yeah, she should have yelled traitor or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but again, it's a zombie movie. Like, you don't expect there's going to be plot holes. You know what I mean? We don't expect these like.
See, I again, like I said, I'm going to give this grade based on what my first visual watching enjoyment, but with every time I sat and thought about the plot, every moment.
That's your problem.
That's where you're failing. That's where you're failing right
As soon as I put any effort into
you're supposed to think about again after you've watched it.
Okay, question.
It's for the moment. It's for the entertainment and the wasting of those moments that you actually use to watch the actual film. If you're going to go back and think about this particular film, like, yes, it's going to look like a piece of trash. Like, because that's not what it was designed for. Like, it was not designed for like the afterthought. It was designed for probably like the big screen and like, oh, it's a zombie heist movie. That's you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not.
But when you as a storyteller start throwing sneaks and hints and Easter eggs and things. You want people to look deeper,
Think deeper, thinking.
So
Think
when
deeper.
yeah, so when you hide
It's a zombie movie.
when you hide a robot
Yeah, but
zombie,
the problem is Zack Snyder's not trying to make a zombie movie. He's trying to make a thinking zombie
franchise.
movie.
Trying to make a franchise.
so
But he's failing.
So when you put a robot zombie in a zombie group, you immediately spark 100 questions,
Right.
about okay, who put that there and why, and if that's in there successfully, if you successfully built a robot zombie, what the hell you need anything else for?
Exactly.
Like, what's weaponizing zombies if you already have robot zombies?
Keith, there are other zombie movies that you could just turn your brain off and enjoy. Like I said 28 Days Later to Brooks. This movie Quarantine, it came out in the early 2000s.
World War Z, I could watch.
Dawn of the Dead. There's other zombie movies.
Yeah,
You could shut off your brain.
But those are your traditional zombie movies. Meaning, and when I say traditional, like there's zombie movies about the zombieing of the the movie is about the zombieing. Like you know what I'm saying, like it's not like the zombies are blocking you from doing something else, and that's the real meat of the movie. Like no, like they are the movie. It's about them turning into zombies, and
It's
like,
a simple plot.
Simple
It's a story, simple
a very
plot.
simple trope. Like it's
I
not.
can turn off my head and just watch.
Yeah, but I always thought that a lot of zombie
World War
movies,
Z is not like it's very watchable. Like it's not to me.
Yeah, I liked World War Z.
I like
but
World
a lot
War
of
Z
them
too.
have a message, like whether it's about consumerism or
Shit,
if it's
I Am
about,
Legend. I Am Legend is another zombie movie that had a very simple story plot, had a very driven character that you followed, and you cared about the stakes that he was involved in. You know, he had to get this cure, and all this stuff was happening. That movie was way better than this trash.
Yeah,
and it had some very intense moments.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, a suggestion for a zombie movie, The Girl with All the Gifts, also on Netflix.
Yes.
It's a drama based zombie, and that is a great. I thought that was a great movie.
Yes.
What's the one? There was one with Schwarzenegger like 5-6 years ago where his daughter was turning into a zombie and he was trying to.
I do not remember that.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, there was a movie he did. Hang on, I gotta look it up.
Because I just watched the worst Schwarzenegger movie I've ever seen. But anyway,
which one?
I'll find it. Keep going.
Oh, The Girl with All the Gifts. I see it now.
The Girl with All the Gifts is really good.
That was really good. The girl,
That's a more thinking drama style of.
I mean, we say all this because there's other examples of thinking zombie movies.
I mean, it's okay. It is the weakest part of this movie, and especially the more time you put into it, the worse it gets, because he leaves, as we've seen other reviews say, he leaves a lot of stuff on the floor. He introduces that huge saw and then doesn't use it in the main action set pieces. He introduces the possibility of time travel and just or recurring time, tosses it out the window. Zombie baby, whatever. Maybe it was something, maybe it's not. Robot zombies, maybe not.
The dead action zombies that when rain
the rain or sun zombies.
I thought they would have to run through them at the end of the movie.
Zombie
while it was raining.
Yep.
Didn't happen.
Right. But the whole idea, like the idea of a hierarchy with a king and queen and some thinking and some, I think that's an interesting idea unto itself, that if you had targeted that as your storyline, I think that would have been enough. On top of like, oh, you have to go in there and you think you just have to run past all these shamblers, but holy crap, you have to. One of the best parts for me was when the coyote brought Shades in with them and then tied him up.
Shades from Sons of Anarchy.
Right. And then tossed him to the zombie queen. I was like, oh shit, that's good. That's interesting.
Yeah, I like that part a lot.
I did, yeah.
You know, that he's a sacrifice. Now,
yeah, but you knew he was coming back as a mini boss later, right? So.
Yeah, exactly. Which was fine. Like that's good. Good, do that.
So here is my question about him. When he came back as a zombie, he didn't really look like a zombie. He still looked like himself. But all the other zombies look like zombies.
Yeah,
that
I
was
think
the thing.
That's because he's a main character. He wasn't like an extra playing zombie.
there's another
But they're trying
unexplained.
to say he was already a zombie.
Right. there's a sort of also sub story unexplained section where they take these people and the zombie king puts them into a room and like one by one decides whether he wants to turn them into zombies and then throws them into that empty pool. You know, that whole ceremony thing where he had the three women in the hotel room. Like, what was that? What was going on there?
Maybe he's just bored and playing games.
No, it's just because he was a well-known actor. You were going to give him the same makeup.
But it also
the same makeup as the extras. He was going to see his face.
But the thing is, he became a zombie, and then, but he was a zombie with an agenda of revenge.
Well, it was used to create the woman still alive, a reason for that woman to still be alive, so that the daughter could try to save her.
Correct, and he was still a sexual assaulter. He was still assaulting women.
But that whole like storyline doesn't truly make sense.
It doesn't even pan out because she disappears after
in the last. She like crash and
where did she go?
We don't see her at all at the end.
She dead. All that to get her. She dead.
Yeah.
Now I get that.
Sorry guys. By the way, that movie with Schwarzenegger was it's called Maggie. I don't know if you remember it.
Yeah,
I remember the trailer for it.
So his daughter starts to turn into a zombie, and he tries to protect her. Like definitely a better movie. Like it's not an action movie; it's more of a thinking movie, you know. So anyway, go ahead.
Well, okay. So I guess this is. I'm going to ask each of you to say something in the storyline you thought was interesting about this. We're going to force you to say something positive here.
You said it, actually. You stole it from me. The entire time travel sequence. Because Eric was like, this is like Lost. Because you remember Lost during the final seasons. They would show you skeletons of people that have gone through a task that they haven't gone through yet on the island. And him and I both said the same thing, like, oh, wow, what if that is them? And you know, in a future sequence. But I'm like, no way Zack Snyder's doing that. I mean, no way. But that was interesting enough to really get me to perk up and say, oh, this is going somewhere.
Right.
And of course it didn't.
All right. Brooks, I think this will be easy for you. What was your favorite story point?
I mean, I really liked the King and Queen zombie thing. I also agree that we could have gone further into it, but I just thought it was an interesting twist on zombies. It also, I don't know, I also kind of liked the, whatever that camp was. That was another like interesting plot to me. That camp outside of the quarantine zone.
Yeah, the quarantine people, they weren't sure if they would turn into zombies, so they basically abused a bunch of locals and made them.
Yeah, very political.
It's like the Japanese internment camps.
Internment camps
during World War II kind of thing, or the camps for the people who cross the border. I can't think of the word.
Right. Yeah, I liked that part of it as well.
Again, they could have done more with it.
They could have. They definitely could have done more with it. But to me, it felt like, in a way, it was like highlighting something that is actually happening in the world.
Right.
So, you know, I'm for that. And then at the very end, I liked that Ghost was the only survivor and that he's probably going to turn into a zombie. You know who I'm talking about.
Well, no, the daughter was the survivor, technically.
Yeah, but she probably got nuclear radiated.
Yeah. She didn't get in a refrigerator like Indiana Jones that she would have.
That whatever I don't know what his name is. I'm looking at IMDb. I don't know what his Amari Hardwick. I don't know what name he played, but he's Ghost in my world.
Why did he go to Mexico?
Vanderho?
Yeah. He's gonna spread the zombiness to Mexico.
No, I know what he's gonna do. Why did he need to go to Mexico?
I think he didn't seem to realize.
He just got on a private jet and was like, wherever you guys want to take me. Mexico. Okay.
Yeah.
No, he paid for the flight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So why Mexico?
Because then you could
Because
bomb
Zack
Mexico.
Snyder?
I don't know.
Because actually, there you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. See you next week.
All right, Mike.
Yeah.
Force you to say something positive.
Okay, I did enjoy the tiger. I thought
The tiger was cool.
Tiger was cool.
That was a cool death.
So,
was
and
not-
then
it
tearing
was-
the
it
one
wasn't
dude apart
natural.
was nice.
All right, Keith.
Wait, what's going on now?
Something positive, a story point that you thought was interesting. For the person who
Look
actually
at that.
enjoyed himself.
Yeah, he was telling us haters.
I mean, I'm
Turned off your brain.
You
too
know what
much.
I do like?
What?
I do like I and this is what I wish it was fleshed out more, but I do like how they set up like zombie society. Like it looked like you know they have rituals. Like it the formation of that little zombie society or what it looked like was forming a society. I felt like that was pretty interesting. Like I would have liked to see that fleshed out a little bit more. Really drawing the line at the zombie babies. Not buying it whatsoever, not in my wheelhouse, but I dig everything else based on how the movie began and how we saw, like, you know, like, so the first one wasn't dead, you know, like, or whatever that was in the thing. We can assume maybe it wasn't dead. Then it was a government experiment, and it killed other. You know what I'm saying? Like it started the killing people and they turned
that intro. Very good. Yeah.
So I like that explanation as an explanation for the whole like. And also
that's my favorite part of the movie too.
The ones bitten by the higher level, the higher level zombies become the higher level zombies. Like,
right.
So it thins out. So it thins out with lineage, and I dig that idea as well. Like, the closer you get to the originals, the stronger the you know the different level zombie that you are.
Okay.
Like Anne Rice vampires.
Nice.
Right there.
Yeah, exactly. You get bit by an elder, you're stronger. Okay, so my favorite part is also my favorite character, and that's the coyote. I think the Nora Arnendezer playing Lily the coyote. I thought the idea of someone who's in the camp, who has a little way in, who knows the kind of ins and out of the zombie society slightly enough to get people in. Sometimes she loses people, but she's kind of hard ass. I thought that whole idea, especially with the whole king and queen zombie society thing, I thought she was a great character, and I wish someone interesting had survived.
Yeah, like the helicopter chick.
Like give us a person to follow through. If you really want to make a series or you want to make a universe, give us a character like I know the daughter survived. I didn't find her all that interesting.
Who's the worst part of the movie, guys? From me.
Yes, I'll agree. The daughter made the movie a little bit annoying for me.
Right. But I think that Coyote would have been an interesting character to survive. She was in on all the individual subplots and the back ends and the secrets. I think she would have been a cool character.
And was the woman that she was looking for, like, was that like her partner? Like,
no,
like,
she had purchased a time to go in and try to they break into the casinos.
No, I know that, machines. But I'm saying, why is she going so hard? Like,
because the daughter was making her.
The daughter was making her. The daughter was going
it's the
hard.
Daughter, remember, the daughter was like, if you whatever. That's the point. I'm not even trying to.
The daughter just didn't want to watch her kids. She was like, "Look,
yes,
the kids are too much. I'm gonna go get their mom.
This mom needs to come get her kids back.
Right,
come get your kids."
It was like a babysitter.
Come get your kids.
Kids are getting kids. Like they're just a problem. Like, who's watching the kids right now? Nobody. Like, the kids are just alone in this camp because the mom left, and then the person who was supposed to watch the kids also left.
As soon as I got to that zombie land, I would have looked around and been like, "Oh, well, it don't really look like she made it.
Okay.
I don't think
We're going to give grades, and then I'm going to have one last question for everybody. So let's start with Mike. What was your grade for Army of the Dead?
C- for me.
Woo, C-.
Some entertaining pieces, but overall, not the greatest thing for me.
All right. Keith, what's your grade?
I'm going to go ahead and give it a full like C+. Only because like I really the helicopter chick made me laugh how she how easily she was persuaded to join the team.
Oh, yeah.
$7 million?
I hate my life. My
He was
life
like, he was like, don't you want to say something? You said $1 million. I hate my life. When do we?
She was good. I could tell that they had stuck her in, but they did it pretty well for someone just completely erasing another character and putting her in. All right, James, before we erase you and replace you with Tig.
Oh, shit. In the immortal words of our queen of the podcast, I'm giving this D for doo-doo.
All right, counteract that. What do you got, Brooksy? Oh, we can't hear you.
You're on mute.
I guess you don't get a grade.
My apologies. My dogs are barking in the background. I'm going to go with a B-.
D-. Good job.
She said B-.
B.
Oh, sorry.
B.
And here I am going to agree with Brooksy. B-.
What?
B-?
Yes.
Just
oh, yeah, smoking.
Okay. Again, I said I was gonna grade it on my enjoyment, sitting there with really low expectations and going, I'm having fun. I'm liking what I'm seeing.
I'm proud of you, actually.
Any thought after any time I open my brain and kind of transfix the plot, it falls apart. But you know what? I just had fun watching it. That's all I'm gonna say.
So I wonder if you watched this movie without seeing the trailer first, would your grades have changed?
Like if I didn't know who Zack Snyder was, like a lot of it is maybe there's some preconceived notion in it because I've seen his other work and
your grade is on a curve. I get it now.
There is a curve to it, but that's fine.
All right, that's fair.
All right. So my question before we sign off tonight: Vampire Twilight Baby versus Zombie Baby, who wins?
Vampire Twilight Baby versus Zombie Baby.
Super Zombie Baby. Remember, this is a high level.
But we
zombie.
know what Twilight Baby's powers are, so we don't know what Zombie Baby can do.
I would assume Super Zombie Baby is as super as the parent, like the father baby, like even more because it was like glowing blue, like the whole thing. But if you put like a high level zombie against a vampire, who do you think wins?
Vampire.
A high level vampire. Wait, a high level zombie against a vampire?
Yeah.
Yeah, vampire.
I think I'm gonna go with the vampire.
Yeah, I'm going vampire.
But he can't like bite it and drink its blood. You can't do that.
No, but he
Doesn't
can
have
probably
to.
rip it to shreds. Like,
you know, take it up from the sky, toss it down. Like you saw the queen, her head exploded to fragments.
and it's not so much like what he can do to the zombie. What can the zombie do to the vampire?
I guess you do the both thing. If you can rip someone's head off.
Take it by its legs.
What if we
drop it down?
Pretty much
dead.
I mean,
what if we gave
the zombie? I mean, the vampire.
What if we gave the zombie tiger as a co-fighter? Like how many zombies would it take?
Cheating.
How many zombies would it take to kill Edward the vampire?
Edward? Wait, who's Edward?
Twilight.
What's his name?
How many of these zombies would it take to kill Edward the vampire?
1 robot, 2 alpha, and then the tiger. Those 4.
I don't know. I feel like it might take like a plethora of alpha.
I think if you give it a horde of shamblers for him to deal with, and
he can't fly. He's got to be encased in like, you know.
Right.
See, now you got to give him handicaps in order to make.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He is more powerful than these, but if he were to fight, he couldn't just wipe out all of Las Vegas by himself.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, you guys.
Because these zombies are very coordinated. They were doing capoeira. There wasn't like this. The typical zombies just wait for you to get your licks in.
Yeah, I did want to see. I wanted to see more of the fighting zombies than just once. Like everybody else, like after the one fist fight, everybody else was just getting headshotted, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
Had enough.
Had enough. Need to get. You guys are tired. We'll quit and we'll come back next week with more energy.
Tired of Zack Snyder.
All right,
I said
everybody.
it out loud. My bad.
Thank you for joining us, Mike. Where can they find us and help us out?
We are on all the social media platforms. Follow us at Heroes Peak, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube.
Hit likes,
Find-
hit follows.
James
hit
is on
stars.
Grindr.
Chill.
Grinder.
Chill.
Just kidding.
I work out.
Okay, I was gonna say you guys should come up with a name for Keith's Grinder, not Keith's Grinder. Sorry.
Whoa.
Hey, where are we
Turn
going?
that
Whoa.
around.
It's a family
Whoa.
show, guys.
It's amazing.
This is a family show.
Uh,
I only have an OnlyFans.
Hey, we saw one episode. You guys,
It's
remember?
My OnlyFans
I remember.
is not
I
for
remember.
Quiz.
It's burned into the brain. Can't forget it. All right. On that note, we're gonna head out. Have a good week. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Hey.